So my memory of makeup, I always loved art. I was always into like, I thought I'd be like a fashion photographer. Like in visuals, I had to capture something all the time in my mind.
Yeah.
For me, I gotta have my heart filled every day because it keeps me going. Like I'm inspired by myself and by my love for makeup, and when I create amazing look and I get to shoot it, I'm like, this is great.
So James, thank you so much for joining me. You look amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Thrift stop for my life. I say it's never more than £2, but you know, sells for $1 million.
Well, you're definitely a fashion icon, I'd say, because like every time I look on your Instagram, you are just killing it in heels and all sorts and fluff, feathers, and just walking the catwalk in the streets. I mean, I think your last one where you were wearing a big red outfit.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
I think that's definitely the queer family. Like my sisters in the drag community, like that's where I'll get any of that. They teach me so much, as much like my friends and I. So it's forever growing. When I was on Glow Up, actually, I remember literally having just jeans and a shirt. Like it was so much more. Derek coined the term basic, but I've grown in that sense in the last 2 or 3 years. So yeah, colour is always a huge part of like the big pigments.
Oh, I love that because you are literally like full of colour when you walk in a room, and I absolutely love that. And obviously, I only got to know you from watching from Glow Up when you were on there.
As had I. I actually learned about you in the first series. I've learned a lot about this industry really in the last 3 years.
Oh, thank you. But also, you know, like because you were Irish as well, that was also another draw. And also I was watching your work very closely, very cool. And, you know, and you do drag makeup, but you do everything else. But you actually trained in film as well. So let's just roll back into like your first memory of makeup.
Makeup for me was always based on art. Like I loved art in school and I wanted to be the camera operator on a production set like Glow Up. I did a media degree in Dublin City University and I one day just did drag makeup on myself. It's like Amy Winehouse was the thing in 27, 28 and she just won a Grammy and all the girls were wearing it in boarding schools. So like puberty was kicking in. So my memory of makeup, I always loved art. I was always into like, I thought I'd be like a fashion photographer. Like visuals, I had to capture something all the time in my mind. And the girls' makeup, and they were following that wing lash was capturing me. It was starting to like go from pastels and batik art to actually the more feminine beauty. And there was a weird, well, I felt weird about it because I had no motivation or influence to do it. It came from like,
not even your mum? Was she wearing makeup? Your cousins?
My cousin did wear makeup. No, she was not about the, you know, Rimmel Flat Mousse and the like the bronzers and I think Maybelline's Colossal Mascara. And I robbed more of those than I've had hot dinners off her. Anytime we'd go to visit the cousin's house, that's a confessional. So I was just drawn to it. Like I'm always a huge curious person. Curiosity will kill me at the end of the day. And that was just in me. So makeup was like top secret, like, you know, Mission Impossible standard in the bathroom of my parents' home in the Irish Midlands till like 6, 7 in the morning and just doing liner and drawing. And like it would go out of control into something artsy and then I'd pretend to be just like, you know, lipstick and shave my like. Hold on a minute. So
how old are you at this point?
I'm about 15.
You were 15.
I was doing drag or like what was the essence of it, but I didn't know what it meant. Like Drag Race wasn't a thing on TV.
That's right.
It was just a gut instinct, or I wanted to break away from like constructive gender.
Yeah, but I mean, around you, what were you surrounded by? Nothing. There was nobody around you with, you know, wearing makeup?
Not really makeup, art. There was loads of art, and my dad's sister is my godmother, and she always brought me to the Galway Arts Festival, and she'd show me, you know, theatre performances where I saw men or women or whoever they in makeup, and she had told me stories of, you know, putting makeup on to be part of like the Carnival festivals and the performers in Galway Arts.
Maybe she was.
Absolutely. And like I have huge, you know, to give her huge credibility for that. So they are my early memories of makeup. I oppressed a lot of it for like easily, I'm going to say 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, because when I finished college, I was 22.
Yeah.
I went to America for 6 months and worked on Navy Pier in Chicago for the sake of it, just selling photographs, freelancing, nightclub photography. I was photo shooting all the drag queens. I was doing all the dolls back in Dublin. And I thought, okay, I'm a photographer. And
But were you doing makeup?
No, I left it all behind. I was scared because I hadn't come out until I was 21. And that in itself was like the first onion layer of this never ending coming out sense. And makeup was more scary to me to admit than my sexuality. And I don't know why it was such a big thing. Having not seen much of it outside of like what the glimpses I seen online. And like I said, the girls in school and arts festival. And then robbing a few mascaras from my cousin here and there, and this one-liner pen that lasted like a century in my parents' bathroom. There was nothing else to carry it through to say it's real. You can do this as a job. So I went and did photography, thinking, okay, bing, I'm a photographer. Things felt almost in my head suddenly systematic.
Yeah.
And it's weird, that's like 6 years ago, and I almost feel I'm still breaking out of my shell from that.
6 years ago is not that long,
And I have to remind myself that, because I think a lot happened really quickly then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, like when I'm looking at you, I'm like, you're quite well established already. A lot of people gravitate to you, your personality. You're actually like a guest judge, in the Ireland Glow Up. So, for you to do that, kudos to you. So
it isn't funny how life works, I guess, and what you teach yourself and train yourself, or what you experience you go through at a certain point when they're going to come back around. So as a kid, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be like a star. Yeah. So maybe, come on, if it's going to be makeup.
I think everyone does. I'm not being funny, but when as a kid, you watch TV, you just want to be a superstar. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be famous, but not the famous to be like a celebrity famous. I wanted to be famous to get rich, to be able to help and do things.
This is it.
That was my motivation. Like Mother Teresa and da-da-da. Yeah. But not to be... scrutinized, in the media. So do you feel like misunderstood sometimes?
A little bit. It's so rich and pure that you say that, because honestly, Lannis, like that is so refreshing to hear, because I think to myself, I'm almost at a point now where there's this level of exposure. People will have a more than likely healthy impression set of what you do and who you are, but there's more for me to unfold. And as well, with just the universal law of attraction, how the pandemic unfolded in 2020, coincidentally when our series aired, you couldn't predict that. So it really had us all in our series go down the online route and the social creativity. I was so delighted with like the last 18 months to have that opportunity, because it almost fed my soul and gave me the answers that were so in the air of what am I doing? Where's my creative source going? What am I selling for myself? When I had that ambition as a child to be like, look at me, want some kind of level of attention. But that has kind of been validated and like filled, and I'm trying to change my path in a way now.
Because I feel like, you've got your name, you're fairly successful, right, on social media. I mean, you get paid, right, for branding and doing stuff, right?
I had I'll be really transparent. I had a lot in 2020, 2021. It's not that course of action right now. There's not a lot of like agencies reaching out to me, because I've changed. I changed the set wind of my sails last summer, and it's kind of digressed a bit. And has freelance work progressed as much? And I'll be honest, it's not like things are shaky, but things are changing, and I have to nearly decide what it is I want to do. But also, I guess for me as a makeup artist, let's just from a makeup point of view, I want to be on the ground. I'm a people's person, so when you think about the acting abilities or the energy, which is huge for me. You get that in person. I know you can share a lot with the power of social media. I don't think for me, and it's no read towards anyone, that I was meant to stay confined to a space or a room constantly.
Because you're in your attic, right?
Yes, I did.
You're saying, I was like, people don't know.
Oh, and the fear, I had no fear of missing out when the world was on standstill, and I was really fortunate to have an amazing mum and dad. There's only three of us, me, myself, and I, back in Ireland, and I had all the space where we come from in rural Ireland, in County Laois, to create all the amazing work. And it was like the brand deals, the partnerships, the social media job was on fire, and it was great. I always wanted to come back to the city though. I saw it opening last year. I lived here for 2 years, 2018-19. That's how I discovered Glow Up. I was in the UK. I had a resident to be able to apply. And I was the first Republic of Irish person on the show.
Well, hold on a minute.
Yeah, damn it, that's right. Yes. Absolutely. Like the one that probably sat in the most red chairs, I'd say. Let's put it that way. And so that was that was great a year and a half ago, but it didn't mean I went into Glow Up wanting to learn more as an artist, as a makeup artist, but also as myself. How do we, lipstick and liner is what we see as a makeup artist initially, but there's so much more that goes beyond. Like the editorial creative world, so much of your stamp on the beauty industry. I've learned only recently, this like 24 past months. And I think, I just have to trust the process where it's going next. Like saying that out loud and kind of talking about a great 18 months experience, things, there's a wave in life, like the flow. And it's changing now because I want to maintain being a working artist. And now that we're kind of back into the real world, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so what changes have you seen with the brands? Is it because the fact that you're not focusing on, because I remember I was having a discussion with somebody about, if you don't have enough engagement or followers and stuff, then the brands don't want to invest or, what?
True. I would happily not look at my phone. I would not have my phone out when I'm with someone at a table. Nice. And I think that's, call me old-fashioned or just, I've been here before from a soulful point of view. I'm an old head. I grew up not much with my phone, even though I was always into technology and photographs, but I just am much more engaged in deep, meaningful conversation, I guess. I don't mind if it gets heavy. It just,
this is probably really good for you because...
Those brandings, the engagement is not the same as when I was fully attached to it. And I think for me, I want to be part of, I guess, like when you look at my socials, it's not just my face all the time. I started to share some work that I actually was doing. And it's like the second I did that, it nearly breaks the chain. And it's like, it's hard for an agent that represents you for social media to nearly trust that you have the numbers game, the algorithms anymore, the engagement. Like I posted anything in late 2020 and it was getting 20,000, 30,000 likes, like most of our season from the show, because we were the trend. We were the hot thing for that 15 minutes. Capitalize on it, own it as much as you want. I did for a year. And then it's like the second I stepped outside the door, I saw a change. I was making decisions for myself. And I've had to not be hard on myself to think, why am I giving this up almost? Because people aspire and work so hard to want to get that online platform in a level when it was somewhat just, I nearly felt like it was gifted because of the timing and what the show prevails. It's a hugely successful production now and it really benefited a lot of us from exposure and social media if that's what you soulfully want. But to be able to find the balance between both, like that's something that they don't tell you in the
so is that your biggest advice then for people? Because obviously I remember before influencing was a big thing, you had your original girls, Pixie Woo, let me see who else, Lisa Eldridge. I mean, a few of those, big names. And I remember someone coming up to me and goes, "Hey, do you want to be an influencer and do makeup?" And I went, "Nope." And he goes, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, because I want to be on the ground. I haven't got time for that. I need to be working on shoots and editorials."
You got to be quick or have a double alter ego. Like I need two. That's what I always say to myself, to my friends. I'm like, girls, if I could be in my drag self, separate and say it's Boy James, and one can run socials and let me run around and be on set assisting or traveling. I
mean, it's a hard job to multitask on all those levels, and I think social media is actually really, really hard. I'm not being funny, but sometimes I get a burning anxiety in my stomach because I haven't posted or whatever, and it's like I have to step out of that. So, what advice would you give for those that are sort of thinking, I want to be like you, I'm going to be outside, earning loads of money, because obviously it's changed now. But
it has, and I would be, maybe this is my journey. It's not for everyone that it'll be exactly like this. Some people are killing the game. They just know what they want, and power to you as well. I think, especially for a glow up, we didn't even know about the Netflix launch when it aired. Like series 1, Lee's series, the guys, that came out December of when we wrapped, like right before the pandemic kicked off. So this is January 2020. And we had already filmed our series. It was in the bag. It was like shush already 3 months ago. And I never did it for that purpose because it didn't exist. So when it happened, it was like, I wouldn't change a thing, but God, I was being so authentic and just Irish country hi Joe, because I thought this is great for my experience. I'm going to learn a hell load. And then I think since then, the recent audition tapes and seasons that are coming forward, I get messages all the time being like, how do I get on Glow Up? And I'm like, what do you want? It's like, do you want to learn? Because like, you gotta take pride in your mistakes. Because I had a up and down experience on the show, but I broke away from myself, and that gave me huge
because that was still part of your learning curve for who you were, right?
Massively.
Because I mean, to be exposed like that, and actually just touching on that, because you have a bit of a disability,
and
so I mean, when I met you at the competition, where physically, like, you're absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And I wanted to figure out, like, you know, what brings it out on you. And you were saying that how anxiety or, you know, anxiety, you know.
No, it is. I mean, you know,
like,
even thinking about it, I have a little tick now going on there. And it's funny because when I get the verification, it's that blue tick. And my friends are like, you just paint yourself blue. Tick. Like, it's there. I have a form of Tourette syndrome. I was diagnosed when I was 18 with a consultant in school because I was just getting highly stressed about being in a boarding school environment for those 6 years.
You were in boarding school?
I was in boarding school in Ireland from 12 to 16, or 12 till 18 years old.
And in Ireland?
In Ireland, in a co-ed, you know, private Church of Ireland school. And that, you know,
I can almost visualise.
It shaped a lot. I think it gave me a lot of hard grit and kind of resilience because I was never, let's say, scared of Val or Dom in respect of, like, they go to town and critiquing you, but they don't want to, like, break you down. They want to build you up. And, like, some people perceive it all in their own ways. I remember thinking I would nearly call the show Britain's best mental capable star than makeup star because it was your attitude. I mean, attitude screams for how we thrive in this, you know, industry or in this world, life. Your skills and talents can be a given, but how you address and share it, like, I still feel like I'm figuring that out. But school really gave me, I mean, it was tough. Like, when you have something so physical, it's easy to be the pit of the joke. And you know, I definitely like to think I have a huge abundance of kindness, but it's weird how I translated all my school experience to almost like I forcefully do remind myself to remain kind or never take or judge anyone for granted. Everyone is welcome through my door. Tourette's is there every day for me. Like, there's things I will always regulate, like breathing is huge, meditation. I try to do yoga, swimming, things to regulate. I never felt it like was a label for me or that it hindered me, which was kind of special. And I remember going for the show. It was a huge, obviously, story opportunity to share. I had never seen myself, because I can't when I'm doing it in the mirror, seeing footage of me twitching. And it came out on, I think, the second episode when I did my Bowie look. And like, that was a huge episode for me because I learned, again,
that's amazing.
You learn so much as a makeup artist. I learned a lot about myself in that, like, 30-second feature that they had on me.
What did you learn?
I went really red. I got really, like, scared or embarrassed. And I was back home in Ireland. Like, I was with my parents. So you had to get a VPN. The producers showed us episode 1. They said, here's a snippet. I learned about, well, when it aired, the message that came in, I realized how many people felt the same, whether the subject, the context is Tourette's, but an inability, or just how people can feel so inadequate or different. And whether it's internally, physically, it opened up, like, so many avenues for people to, like, reach out and, like, they almost felt like they could just trust me. And that was, you know, in a way overwhelming as much as it was so enticing. And wow, I often think, have I even fully done what I'm meant to do with sharing that journey of what I could connect to? And I feel like I never talked about Tourette's as much in my life in the last 2 years because I just kind of took it for granted, just like it was a given for me. Where some people have really respectfully accredited, like, inspired by, God, you do this, but yet you still have this. And I go, wow, really? It never nearly was a second thought because I never knew any different. And only yesterday I was on the bus and I do my thing and one girl said, oh, you know, I'm just brushing my hair, you keep looking at me. And I was like, oh, I have Tourette's. And then she goes, oh, well, why don't you swear? And all these other assumptions came out. And it's funny because I just wonder what conversation we're having in society. I've never talked about it as much before recently. And, you know, just to bring it back, the power of makeup, when I do makeup, it's like it evaporates.
I was about to say, because when we're talking about makeup, you haven't Twitch or nothing, and I think, like, obviously he's really relaxed around me, thank God.
No,
because you said anxiety brings it out, and then obviously it's you know, talking about stuff, and you started going, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's in your head as well. Do you think? Like,
I think it is. Yeah. No, you know, I met a very important person in my life when I was 16, who's quite close to my mum. She's my mum's age, and I'd call it like my counselor. She taught me a lot of the meaning of life and gave me a huge insight into emotional intelligence because I would be a huge emotional person. I can sense someone in a room, whether they know about it or not. Like, I'm not saying it's a superpower, but I'm deeply in tune. And it's like, even when I went through the show's experience, I knew I had the potential to really go the long mile, but I had to unlock something for myself. And I did some incredible work with this friend, like a week or two before we filmed. This is August 2019. Like, I had like a therapy session nearly with her for 6 hours where I nearly cleansed out any traumas, all the things I held on to for like 6-7 years in boarding school, where like I never ever gave myself any credit of how difficult it was to just sit there, take it on the chin. I didn't like stand up and like punch anyone back. I was really shy and found it hard, but nonetheless it was like I'm still fighting for what I know is in my gut, like coming out, not holding back about being queer from rural Ireland, saying I want to do makeup. Like it was a career change. I was the scariest thing. I know it sounds so crazy, but I was petrified to do it because I came from a sports environment and my dad was the only son of a son, and I thought I had, and they never put this pressure on me. But whatever I was nurtured in my own head as a child, what I was soaking up, I pick it up a lot. So to shake all that, you know, that was a lot for me. And just, the power of makeup does a lot to make me relax. So when I get deep into conversation, I feel hugely comfortable.
And even when you're doing makeup, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you were painting and everything. And I think...
I am. And, you know, I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm trusting the journey because there's a change. And I know I keep bringing it up as like I've never said this before. But it is changing and it's the truth. And one thing I'll say is I think I got better at the technical side of makeup post glow up in lockdown after I'd gone through the trials and tripulations, because I had to, you know, almost relearn the face is the canvas, your tools are makeup, because I'd loved art as a kid. Like I loved drawing.
You're self-taught though?
I did a training course in Ireland for 9 months, and it was TV, kind of film makeup. We had to do a case study portfolio. It was harder than my final exams in secondary level in Ireland. It was like having to tick these boxes. It was the iTech level 3 diploma certificate, and it was for fashion, TV, film makeup. But what you can't buy is just the on-ground experience. And I got work as a trainee on an Irish TV set summer 2018 with a designer that was then, she's British and she's London Irish. She went on to design the 8th series of the children's BBC's Horrible History show. And I came over here as a trainee for that. It was initially a month's work experience, and then it happened to be, you know, I worked my ass off. I was I swept the floor. I kept those cloths clean. You know, it's an admin life, never mind the makeup side. But that's how I broke through to the UK. And that year and a half as a TV film trainee before Glow Up was fundamental. But then I never did the standard that I delivered on the show prior to actually filming. It was like all firsthand. I stayed up every night to recreate and create and practice. I think I did every creative brief 4 times before we aired on that show. Some people could have gone in and done it firsthand ready, like power to you. To me, I had to give it my all to get to where I want, to where I did in the end. And then doing all the social media for a year and a half, getting much better, refining, even drag. I was doing Club Kid drag and parties in North London in like 2018-19 whilst getting like some, you know, freelance trainee jobs here and there. The drag is kind of even pushed through for me now. And it's like at 28, I feel the most connected to like my self-identity than I ever had before. And I think that is where I have this calmness inside me. And I have to trust the process. When I have an anxious day, I think, oh, am I going to become a freelance artist with a studio space now? You know, what's next for me is, I'll tell you what I think will be next for you.
Well, what is next for you? Tell me, what is it you want? Like, what do you want to share about, you know?
I would love to be able to be back in person. I think I definitely know I want to start assisting with artists that have so much experience under their belt. I'm far from ever going to be finished. Like the one thing I remember learning on day one in the course I did do in Ireland, the day you think you know everything about makeup, cease to be a makeup artist. That sticks with me. I think it's the oldest picture in the book. And there's so much more I think I still need to learn in the industry, and I'm willing. So it's trying to find the right path, and it's just, you know, it's great even just to talk about it with fellow artists today. Like a lot of my close friends in my social and private life are very much from the queer community, the drag world. I love that with all my heart. I sometimes wonder where can I share my professional world with more friends. Like I made friends in the makeup industry for the first time on Glow Up. Like my season, you know, I never met a makeup buddy before because I was doing the TV jobs, but I'd jump on to the next one and wouldn't see them outside of that environment. So it's like I feel more secure and safe coming up to my 30s compared to what we all expect and imagine we're meant to like feel and have straight after school when we're like 18 or 19.
Yeah. That's so good. It's so nice to hear that you are finding your way and enjoying it and having a support network.
Trusting the process, definitely.
Yeah. some tips then for your younger self or people?
For my younger self, I would think, don't hold back as much. Like, no regrets whatsoever. But I think don't be afraid to say yes without thinking you need to have it all sorted. With the passion for art, there's also a level of perfectionism, because I would have things always to a high standard, and you have to let that go. And even through jobs, I've made some hell of mistakes on sets and jobs, and you think, oh, I'm done, I'm screwed. But you got to give time. So yeah, give time. Trust the process. Practice as much as you have to. Reach out. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for more and think that you're not being selfish when, as a person, and I'd be confident to now admit that I feel so much more selfless in caring and helping and just always being kind and wanting to put my best self forward to help others. But you can also ask for things. Okay, so
I just want to ask, since you do drag makeup, do it very well, what's the thing that maybe makeup artists who are not into drag, or people who want to get into drag or starting off in drag, what's the key thing? Is it the brows? Is it the skin?
Yes. I definitely say, understand face shape. I know it's crazy, we're all deluded or somewhat in the drag world. We can't stop looking at ourselves, but understand face to know your proportions. For brows, technically straight away, start with the root of where your natural brow exists. You don't do a high brow and start up where they kind of almost get lost as a dodgy waiter on a plate.
Because on Globe, right, everyone just goes in with the Pritt stick, right?
Yeah, and even if you Pritt and you comb up, it looks laminated. Even if you're concealing your brows, draw on the new ones, but start at where the root of your base is. Because we all have a human face shape where it's the basis for any way you want to perceive, where you're creating more of a feminine look or you're doing more of a masculine base. How your face is shaped, your brow bone is there. Yeah. Initiate there. Come higher, but have it more at a gentle 45 angle slope, and then have a higher arch. It'll work for your face shape. Yeah. For me, I think then the heavy contouring that was a huge trend, even 5 or 6 years, actually no, 4 or 3 years ago, isn't there for me as much. I used to do these cut cheek, highlight, contour left, right, and center, taking hours using lots of powder. I use MAC Studio Fix and just do a cream blush blend, and I'm doing drag. It's
it's nice to hear, that it's not that, because softened. I think, it's nice to see that, even for you that does it, that you are actually mentally thinking, oh, it doesn't need to be as heavy, because people have, perceived drag makeup in a certain way. It's all glitter, it's all this, it's all that, but actually
I probably still love
just
glitter.
About being beautiful as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's all about beautiful.
It's feeling more
it's
fluid
very skilled.
For me. Yes, no, it is.
It's a highly skilled, to have as well.
It's funny because I think having done drag for so long and practicing it and doing it in clubs and then trying to learn my space in the industry, what I find hard, what I guess I need to learn more of for my own freelance, wherever it goes, is softening things. You have to trust sometimes. Leaving skin is skin, having no black on any emphasis of the eye if it's just brown, or enhancing the natural beauty, that timeless classical look. That's something I actually need to work on. The big wow brow, thank you ma'am, crazy art work, that's where I run to. That's almost my lippy and liner and go. So I think that's what I have to, I'm excited to learn next in the chapter. Yeah. The show was great because it was obviously personifying or really highlighting the most never seen before creative makeup. Thank God they had so much more priority on the creative brief part. The industry part of the competition, the first half of every episode or week is very important, but it was it's how well you did that would put you in more of a pressure cooker situation for in the creative briefs. I always had my 15 minutes less because I was struggling with following the industry briefs. That was my learning objective, I guess. But the creative parts, I was happy in every challenge, even though some people were sweating. They thought this is the hard part of this fabricated competition. That's what sets sales for me. I have to go flip kind of the other way now and really focus on that and trust that could be my favorite thing to do in a year's time from now.
Well, I'm really looking forward to see how you develop and find your feet in the next chapter of your life.
Absolutely.
So far, kudos for everything you've done, and keep doing what you're doing.
And I would say to people as well to also just remember their authenticity. I didn't have as much of a struggle with thinking that my Tourette's was holding me back. The messages I get from people that are aspiring makeup artists, and it is, I'm just like, trust that it is your power, it's your strength. That's your power for makeup, as much as the power of makeup, of how it makes you feel. Like, I've painted myself how I feel so many times before. For me, it's escape, it's addressing a fantasy. It's also making me feel better. But for some people, it could be how they could, like, you know, make up an ability, an inability, a disability. You know, use like last year where Riley, she had vitiligo. That's a huge power of makeup for how she can showcase and embrace it. I loved when she did the diamond across her face. That spoke to me, because I felt like I came from the same realm with how I lived with Tourette's, but I don't let it cease me. So that's one thing I'd say to my younger self if I was ever worried about it, but then also to anyone. Not to worry about it. It is, that's definitely the power of makeup for me, and it's the freedom. And I think as well, to sum it up, the power of makeup also, I think, is a human connection. Like, it brings people together. We're having a discussion on the basis of what we do, but how it makes us feel, and what it's a life. It's a life for millions of people around the world. What I'm looking forward to post somewhat the last 2 years we've all been through is the idea of being able to travel with having this skill, this profession, this career. Because I loved traveling as a teenager, kind of graduate in college. I've lived all over the world. There's so many things I think people don't know about me. I was a ski instructor in Switzerland when I was 16. I lived in Lapland as an elf for a Christmas farm when I was 19 for 6 months in the dark in the Arctic tundra. I've road tripped across America. I lived in New Zealand with a girlfriend before I came out.
Holy crap, you've been, oh my God.
But you know, for me, travel gave me so much life experience. Whilst I trained myself at 24 to do makeup, that is a bug that lives inside me. And if I could travel the world,
you will,
doing this career. And for me, again, it's I can't meet not enough people. For me, I got to have my heart filled every day, because it keeps me going. Like, I'm inspired by myself and by my love for makeup, and when I create amazing look and I get to shoot it, I'm like, this is great. Or I do makeup for a client, or I'm part of a creative team. I love that, but I want to just have it, outwardly, like as far across every corner.
You want everything. You want everything, James. And you'll get everything. Girl. It's good. It's good. I want to give back everything, I guess. I know. I can tell that you want to give back too. So thank you so much for being so open and honest. Absolutely loved interviewing you.
Thank you. This
I
is
definitely
so
will see you.
This is cool. I think this is deadly.
So hopefully I will see you again. And for anyone that's listening, the best place to find you, I guess, is on Instagram, right?
Yep, absolutely. Instagram, YouTube, James McInerney is my full name. My second name is Mac, which is funny because I've done a lot of work with Mac Cosmetics, but genuinely, and James Mac is the brand or drag name. You'll find me on YouTube, and TikTok and Instagram are the same. And then my website is my Instagram social as well. It's a gallery of my work. There's merch there for people. People really fell in love with the kind of idioms on the show as well. But thank you
brilliant.
so much, Lan.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, big love.